Hello and welcome. My name is Johannes Bikas, and today I'm going to tell you a little bit about this paper that my co-authors and I have put together under the name Low Latency Feedback, Contrasting Training Outcomes of Immediate versus Delayed Feedback in Speedrunning Super Mario Bros. To give a little bit of context for this paper and the problem that it addresses, I have to mention that video games and the video game industry as a whole have been growing rapidly in the past years and are projected to keep growing. Many of these games feature competitive online multiplayer modes that are very popular and manage to keep thousands, if not millions, of daily players engaged. These ranked modes offer players the opportunity to compete with each other for a rating on a leaderboard, and these ranks are often reset in a seasonal fashion and offer seasonal rewards for reaching a particularly high rank, and are, because they are displayable in-game, naturally very prestigious and sought after for many players, especially those with a competitive urge. Since it is very difficult to consistently outperform their peers, these players try to somehow maximize their skill acquisition in these games, and the intuitive strategy that most people use is to simply play as much as possible. We know from sports science and psychology that executing tasks for prolonged periods of time is not without its problems. For example, it leads to exhaustion and a decrease in performance for physical activities, but since physical exhaustion is very unlikely in a video game, mental exhaustion could occur and actually has been shown to occur in the form of mental fatigue. Unfortunately, mental fatigue, as it occurs in video games, impairs performance in said video games, and therefore playing as long as possible is not an optimal strategy. Additionally, playing for prolonged periods of time usually involves sitting for prolonged periods of time and prolonged computer use, which both pose health risks and increase chances for several related health issues. Therefore, the exploration of effective training techniques is necessary to reduce these risks. One such technique could be the use of performance feedback, since performance feedback has been shown to play a critical role in learning. Most games already offer some kind of performance feedback by displaying in-game metrics, but oftentimes these metrics, or at least the full overview of all of them, is only shown after the match has ended. This leads to the problem that the situational context and the ability for the players to identify errors gets lost. Additionally, both the task in question as well as the timing of performance feedback is important for its efficacy, and immediate performance feedback has been shown to be superior in many perceptual motor tasks that are similar to those that are needed to play video games. Now, the choice of feedback or feedback timing is far from trivial, because even though immediate performance feedback has been shown to improve learning in perceptual motor tasks, learning of complex concepts or particularly difficult tasks seems to benefit from delayed performance feedback. And video games are usually a mix of complex systems, perceptual motor tasks, and also require knowledge to do well in. So therefore it is unclear which type of feedback or feedback timing would be particularly suited to video game training. We therefore pose the following research question. Is delayed or immediate performance feedback more effective to facilitate learning in a competitive speedrunning task? We chose a competitive speedrunning task for this study because it is similar in its requirements to the things that people in competitive multiplayer online games have to do in order to perform well, but it avoids all the noisy data that comes from metrics that are dependent on the performance of opponents and teammates. For this study, we offer three types of feedback. The first two are sound feedback and text feedback, shown on the left side here, that occur when a player misses a coin or an enemy. And the other type of feedback is the demonstration of optimal gameplay by using a so-called ghost, as you can see on the right side, that moves alongside the player avatar and shows them the optimal moves that they should take with the optimal speed in order to reach the optimal result. The study is a between-subject study featuring a 20-minute training session for the first 2 levels of Super Mario Bros. With performance feedback, followed by a trial phase without feedback consisting of 5 tries per level with unlimited time. The study featured 30 participants distributed over 2 groups, which equals 2 groups with 15 participants each. And the measures taken were the time and the score for the players during gameplay, as well as the player experience inventory after the training session to evaluate the player experience with the feedback systems, and 5 questions aimed at the player's experience and requirements for feedback systems in-game after the trial phase. The immediate feedback group received their feedback immediately while playing, so the ghost was running alongside them during gameplay, whereas the delayed feedback group received a replay of their performance after they finished a try, together with the ghost, so that they see the exact same thing as the immediate feedback group, which is their gameplay alongside the optimal gameplay, but in a delayed fashion. It was made sure that both groups had the same training time as each other. The participants had an average age of 27.31 years, and they all stated to play games regularly. The results show that the immediate performance feedback group improved significantly more than the delayed performance feedback group. Participants who received immediate feedback were more satisfied with their feedback than those who were in the other group. Participants who received immediate feedback perceived their feedback to be significantly clearer than those who received delayed feedback. Participants in the delayed group wished for their feedback to be immediate, and the most requested properties of feedback systems were demonstration of optimal gameplay, interactivity, and instant feedback.